The discipline director climbed over the high wall in a short skirt, landing steadily even in high heels, all just to chase down her troublesome student. To the boy she was an old witch, and to her the boy was a troublemaker. Maybe it was fate that these sworn enemies even shared the same name, and in the end the boy still got caught red-handed by a teacher. Humiliated and furious, he threw a punch only for the discipline director to clamp down on his wrist. With such bad behavior he was dragged straight to the principal's office. On the very first day after transferring he was already throwing punches at a teacher. But because of his father's influence, the principal couldn't do much, slamming the desk hard as he shouted, "Yan Xingchen." Both of them showed the same confused expression. "What is it?" The two exchanged a glance. Only then did the principal realize they had exactly the same name. The boy Xingchen wore a playful smirk, while teacher Yan returned to her office like a defeated hen, completely drained by this problem student. Just then the senior year art teacher walked in saying, "I heard you met that little devil." Teacher Yan took the drink from her hand looking fully satisfied. The art teacher kept chattering beside her ear, spilling all of Xingchen's dirt. She said he'd done something he shouldn't have with a middle school girl and was expelled from his previous school before transferring here, and that he'd even had messy entanglements with women from society, making teacher Yen turn around, unable to believe it. Knock, knock, knock. The sound cut off their conversation and the just scolded Yan Xingchen had disappeared again. Teacher Yen, in high heels, climbed the stairs while panting heavily toward the rooftop. The moment she pushed open the door, countless white doves burst into the sky, paired with Yan Xingchen's handsome side profile, beautiful down to the bone. Seeing this scene, a faint ripple rose in teacher Yan's heart. He really is pretty good looking, just the character is questionable. Arms crossed, she told him to write a self-reflection and send it to her office. A bad student is a bad student. His face darkened as he growled softly, "You want to boss me around? Dream on." Just as teacher Yen was about to explode, he slipped away like he'd greased the bottom of his shoes. Soon she arrived at the principal's office, where the principal said he was assigning that kid Xingchen to her care. Teacher Yen let out a long sigh at this. Yan Xingchen suddenly appeared beside her. "I put the self-reflection on your desk." A string of question marks popped up in her head. Why is this brat so obedient today? When she picked up Xingchen's self-reflection, she showed a gratified smile. Seeing the neat handwriting, she felt this kid might still be salvageable. But on the back were 2 lines. "The front is made up. I know I was wrong and I'll dare do it again next time." That made teacher Yan's mood fall straight into the abyss again, and Yan Xingchen let out a roar that pierced the sky. Don't be fooled by her young age becoming the discipline director. In real life she was a 23-year lifelong single, and the first thing she did after work every day was go on blind dates. Every promising young man, arranged by her parents, was a complete weirdo. Even her phone ringtone was Hua Hua's Butterfly. She quickly used this chance to slip away. On her way home she was still fuming angrily. Suddenly, a blood-stained broken bottle appeared at her feet. Her eyes tightened instantly. It was that troublemaking brat from earlier. Yan Xingchen looked ready to take on 3 opponents at once. She hurriedly hid behind the wall and covered her mouth, afraid those thugs would notice her. But seeing her own student about to be bullied, she decided she couldn't just ignore it. Since she ran into it, she couldn't pretend she didn't. She took out her phone to call the police but worried Xingchen might get dragged away too. Suddenly inspiration struck. She thought of a good idea. Taking a deep breath, she shouted loudly toward the street, "Officer! There's a fight happening here." The street punks heard the shout from the corner and fled in a panic. She let out a sigh of relief. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, Yan Xingchen appeared behind her. She didn't expect him to appreciate it. He showed a scary expression and snapped, "That was you shouting, meddling for nothing." Under teacher Yan's man-eating glare, he turned to leave. The teacher hurried over with quick little steps and grabbed his wrist. Even though Xingchen was extremely unwilling, she still dragged him to buy medicine. At the hospital, Xingchen listened to her endless nagging, his face full of helplessness. He leaned back in the chair lazily. "Don't tell that walking light bulb." Thinking of the principal's vivid image, the teacher couldn't help but snort a laugh. The next second she returned to her serious expression. She opened the medicine in her hand and held a cotton swab to apply it to him. The kid had never seen such a scene before and showed clear fear on his face. Watching the teacher carefully clean his wound, something seemed to flicker in his eyes. The teacher also noticed the change and looked up at him. Xingchen quickly turned his head away. At that moment, a distant gaze fell on the two. A beautiful girl appeared in their line of sight. Xingchen asked with concern, "Why are you still out so late instead of going home?" The girl murmured anxiously, "She has a fever that I came out to buy medicine." Xingchen's expression changed instantly. He stood up, said goodbye to the teacher and went with the girl to check on her. He still reminded her, "Don't tell anyone about tonight." This left teacher Yen full of questions. Was this the rumored middle school girlfriend, and who exactly was that she? A shocking thought popped into her mind. Was it their child? The next morning when the leaders came to inspect the school, teacher Yen was still thinking about last night, regretting not following them. At that moment, Xingchen showed up holding a strawberry-flavored waffle ice cream. The principal instantly exploded, "Yen Xingchen, it's class time right now." Unexpectedly, Xingchen shot a provocative glance at the discipline director behind him. Then he handed the ice cream to the principal. This flashy move left the principal completely stunned. Teacher Yen quickly bid farewell to the leaders. The two walked down the school path one after another and Xingchen gloated, "You didn't manage me well. Wait for your punishment." The teacher didn't mind. "You used to score first place in exams. Why did you become like this?" The words seemed to touch the softest part of Xingchen's heart. He stopped walking. "My business, stay out of it." Teacher Yen looked up and said firmly, "Listen well that I'm the discipline director, that I must take care of your business." As the discipline director to handle this student's countless violations, she worked overtime until 9:30 at night. On her way home she ran into a drunk man dressed in black. As they brushed past each other, their shoulders accidentally bumped. The teacher's pupils widened instantly, and the drunk man turned back with a violent glare, shouting, "Are you blind when you walk?" After seeing his face clearly, the teacher's expression shifted. "Yen Xingchen." She hurriedly asked where he was going. She grabbed his sleeve and Xingchen's eyes were filled with killing intent. "Is it any of your business?" Suddenly she clamped her mouth shut. With a loud retching sound, he vomited last night's food all over the ground. His body collapsed toward the teacher uncontrollably. This left the 23-year lifelong single teacher Yen completely stunned. She quickly helped him to the side and sat him down. She searched through his phone contacts from top to bottom but still couldn't find his parents' numbers. Looking at his unconscious and annoyingly handsome face, she could only take him home. The next morning, Yen Xingchen groped around. The hangover made him rub his head. Suddenly his pupils widened. He had no idea why he was in a strange house. Just as he was panicking, a rustling sound came from behind him. Following the sound, he reached the bedroom door. Click, he tried to turn the lock, but the door was actually locked from the inside. Seeing the key still stuck in the door, he reached out again. The moment the door opened, a pair of golden eyes appeared. A white cat darted out, startling Xingchen. Out! With a sharp shout, a snow-white pillow flew at his face. It completely stunned the poor guy. In the end, the two sat in the living room, the atmosphere as awkward as it could be. Finally, the teacher cleared her throat and broke the silence. "The fight outside school last time and you're drinking this time, I won't report them. But if it happens again, I'll contact your parents directly." Xingchen showed a wicked grin. "If you can call them, I'll take your surname." He probably forgot their full names were already identical. Before leaving, he still didn't forget to provoke her authority. Stupid old hag. The teacher was so furious she could explode at any second, but she forced herself to suppress the anger. She accidentally glanced toward the backpack in the corner. She lifted it up and various textbooks scattered all over the floor. But all of them were middle school textbooks, which filled her mind with confusion. Could these belong to that little girlfriend of his? Soon she arrived at school, only to find that the brat had skipped class, and her mood instantly sank. She told the substitute teacher to check every school camera, then rushed to the surveillance room. She saw that Yen Xingchen was about to enter the girls' restroom, making teacher Yan's whole body jolt. "This little brat causes trouble for me every single day." With a face full of anger, she called the substitute teacher to get Xingchen's parents' contact information. She unintentionally overheard the nearby students whispering, "Yen Xingchen is really shameless, bullying even the younger girls." Teacher Yen snapped her head around. "What did you just say?" The two students noticed her and instantly vanished from sight like teleportation, leaving her drenched in cold sweat. Am I really that scary? Soon the homeroom teacher sent over Xingqian's parents' contact info, adding that the father was basically unreachable and she should contact the mother directly. She immediately dialed the mother's number. Unexpectedly, the parent didn't react at all to him skipping class, said that whatever happens he can deal with it himself. It was the first time the teacher had encountered such a parent, leaving her stunned on the spot. She also overheard rumors that he bullied a junior girl in the girls' restroom, so teacher Yen went there and found a broken stall doorknob. She pushed the restroom door open and found a broken lipstick in the storage area. She accidentally noticed a blood-red handprint on the door. She gently touched it with her fingertip and smelled it. Turns out it was the same broken lipstick. This only made her even more curious about what exactly had happened in the restroom earlier. At that moment, she ran into the art teacher carrying a statue. Seeing her distressed expression, the art teacher immediately understood the reason and took out her phone to open the school forum. What appeared was a post titled, "Stay away from Yan Xingqian," and its content accused him of bullying a junior girl. Knowing him as she did, teacher Yen still couldn't believe it was true. The art teacher added frankly that the girl's family had fallen on hard times and she wouldn't dare provoke the Yen family. Teacher Yen snapped her head around, eyes filled with determination. This can't be true. So she went back to the surveillance room again, determined to get to the bottom of it. Suddenly, she stared at the screen in confusion, seeing Yan Xingqian facing away from the restroom saying something unclear. Soon after, a girl covered in tomato juice hurried out of the restroom. Seeing she supposedly took such a beating yet moved so fast made teacher Yen even more suspicious. Suddenly her gaze sharpened, and she checked the footage of when the girl entered the restroom. She saw that the girl had actually been dragged in by 3 other girls. From what she could tell now, the real bullies were those 3 girls, so she decided to talk properly with the girl who was hurt. Inside, she felt utterly helpless. Ever since Yan Xingqian transferred here, she hadn't had a single day where she got off work early. Seeing the pitch-black hallway, a faint fear rose in her chest. What she didn't expect was that a boy curled his lips into a mischievous smile and casually pulled the power switch. The hallway instantly plunged into darkness, and that tiny bit of fear inside her amplified 100-fold. She couldn't help letting out a piercing scream which made Yan Xingqian secretly pleased. Smirking, he turned on his flashlight, wanting to see which unlucky person it was. But the moment the light shone over, he saw the teacher hiding in the corner, trembling all over in fear. Yan Xingqian froze too. Why is it you, and why are you still at school so late? Looking at the discipline director who scolded him every day with tears still in her eyes, he suddenly felt flustered. Why are you crying? He shook her shoulders firmly, finally snapping her out of it. This troublesome brat, wandering around the school in the middle of the night instead of going home. She finally let out a long breath, her tense heart settling down, and said, "This morning you bullied that girl." Yan Xingqian showed pure impatience, with not even the slightest intention to explain himself. The teacher grabbed his clothes and said he wasn't leaving unless he told her the truth. Xingqian turned back, eyes full of indifference. Does it matter? No matter what, everyone already thinks I did it. He waved dismissively and walked away, leaving her standing there in confusion. During the Monday morning assembly, while all the students hurried toward the meeting area, Yan Xingqian was still strolling leisurely on the field, biting into his lollipop with loud clicks. His clothes hung loosely on him, looking every bit like a delinquent. At that moment, the campus broadcast played, asking all students to gather quickly. As he started walking forward, 2 girls behind him whispered, "That's the guy who bullied the junior girl. Yan Xingqian, let's stay far away so we don't provoke him." Hearing their whispers, Yan Xingqian suddenly turned around and stared at them, scaring the 2 girls into running for their lives. Twirling the lollipop stick in his hand, he wore an indifferent expression and continued toward the assembly area. The long and boring assembly neared its end when the assistant teacher announced that Director Yen would now give a speech. Teacher Yen strode onto the stage, skipped all unnecessary words and went straight to the point, reading a notice about the investigation results of the bullying case that occurred in the grade 11 building on a certain date. The moment she said this, the students erupted in shock. But one of the people involved sat slouched in the last row, staring blankly at Teacher Yen on the stage. Holding the documents in her hand, Teacher Yen continued sternly, saying the real bullies were 3 girls who had been tormenting another student for half a year, which was extremely serious. The school had already expelled the 3 students, and the school website had opened a reporting channel. Students could use it to report incidents. Following the policy of zero tolerance towards school violence, any case confirmed would be punished severely. She also hoped everyone would get along and avoid similar incidents. And regarding this case, the students who spoke harshly toward Yan Xingchen should now thank him. Then Teacher Yan's gaze turned sharp. Judging and insulting a classmate based on just one rumor, how is that any different from those 3 girls? Hearing this explosive truth, all the students below fell silent. Everything that needed to be said had been said. Teacher Yan organized her papers and slammed them hard onto the table with a loud thud, announcing, "Meeting dismissed." The morning assembly ended. Yan Xingchen walked across campus with mixed emotions. He originally thought it would be the same as before, getting punished and transferring again. But unexpectedly, Director Yan had actually cleared his name. At that moment his phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was from Li Han. That brat was actually trying to take credit, getting stabbed once and wanting praise. What kind of nonsense is that? As Yan Xingchen typed his reply, the same 2 girls from earlier walked over and mustered up the courage to bow and apologize to him. After speaking, they immediately ran off into the distance. Yan Xingchen was completely baffled. What was this supposed to be? Right then, another message came from Li Han. They're apologizing because of the bullying case. Cutie. Flirting session over. Yan Xingchen started scanning the crowd. Suddenly, he finally spotted that familiar figure. It was Teacher Yan. He took a step forward, ready to approach her, but stopped again. What could he even say to her? Thank her? Apologize? He had even messed with her yesterday. While Yan Xingchen hesitated, Teacher Yan walked farther and farther away. Forget it, he thought. He was just a troublesome student anyway. Being misunderstood by the whole school had never made him frown. Yet now, even after the burden was lifted, he still couldn't feel happy as he stared at the apology messages on his phone. He wondered whether he should apologize to her but couldn't make up his mind. Suddenly a voice came from behind, startling him so much that the lollipop stick dropped from his mouth. It was Li Han, who knew Yan Xingchen hadn't eaten lunch yet, so he brought him a sandwich. Xingchen crossed his arms and didn't take it, telling Li Han not to talk to him, afraid of causing him trouble. But Li Han sat down on the other side carelessly and told him not to worry. Relax, everyone's on lunch break. Just pretend I'm here catching rule-breakers. As student council president, I do have that authority. Hearing that, Yan Xingchen finally picked up the sandwich, tore open the wrapper, and reminded him again to be careful, otherwise he'd get into trouble. Li Han explained with a grin, don't worry. Maintaining order on campus is part of the student council's job. Li Han then turned to look at him. It wasn't a mistake convincing you to transfer here, right? She's a good teacher. With his mouth full of bread, Yan Xingchen mumbled 2 unclear words. Not bad. Seeing Xingchen's refusal to admit anything, Li Han found it hilarious. Such a stubborn tsundere. Then Li Han became serious again. Do you want to seriously think about college? Before he could finish, Yan Xingchen cut him off impatiently. I have my own plans. Li Han grew anxious, saying earnestly, I know you want to get away from that family as soon as possible, but your future is more important. You can't ruin yourself just because of what's in front of you. Yan Xingchen knew Li Han was just worried about him, but he didn't want to talk about that now, so he quickly changed the subject. Do you think I should thank her? Li Han was surprised. You're asking me something like that. That's not like you at all. Just as Yan Xingchen was about to explain, a student council member came over to find Li Han. President, the principal wants to see you. Li Han stood up to leave, but then remembered the earlier question and turned back with a smile. She's different from your previous teachers. The student who came looked shocked seeing the 2 of them talking. President, you know Yan Xingchen? No, I just saw he wasn't resting at noon and came to ask why. Yan Xingchen kept chewing his sandwich and didn't say another word. After Li Han left, Yan Xingchen quietly withdrew his gaze, thinking about how he should thank Teacher Yan. After school, Yan Xingchen waited at the school gate for Teacher Yan, but no matter how long he waited, he still didn't see that familiar figure. Maybe she got dragged into overtime again by that lightbulb principal. As he wondered how he should start the conversation later, Teacher Yan walked over with her head down. Yan Xingchen quickly called out, Hey. Only then did Teacher Yan notice him. She couldn't help scolding him again. You brat, so rude. Don't you know you're supposed to use honorifics when speaking to a teacher? And when are you turning in the 2 reflection papers? The moment Yan Xingchen heard her lecturing again, a wave of irritation hit him. Before he could speak, Teacher Yan had already walked past him saying, "School's over. Go home quickly and stop wandering outside." Then she was about to leave. Yan Xingchen forced a stiff smile and said, "I need to talk to you." Hearing that, Teacher Yan turned her head. What could be more important than studying right now? You're in senior year. You can't slack off anymore. Yan Xingchen let out an annoyed hum. I really do have something to tell you. Teacher Yan looked genuinely surprised. You coming to me on your own? Did the sun rise from the west today? Yan Xingchen's face turned red. The words stuck in his throat. He rubbed his neck, fidgeting, unable to get anything out. Seeing that, Teacher Yan kept walking, but he followed closely behind, still silent. Unable to take it anymore, she suddenly stopped. You've been trailing me this whole time. What do you want? Startled, Yan Xingchen also stopped. What I want to say is... His voice dropped to a whisper, barely audible. Thank you. Even though it was soft, Teacher Yan still heard it. Her face froze in shock. Did I hear that right? Did he actually thank me? Is this really the same Yan Xingchen? Since he already said it, Yan Xingchen simply went all in. I just wanted to tell you, thank you. For helping clear my name before. If it weren't for you, I might have been stuck carrying that blame until graduation, or until I transferred again. After figuring out why Yan Xingchen had been acting so strangely, Teacher Yan finally let out a big breath of relief. No need to thank me, I just did what I should do. Once she finished speaking, Yan Xingchen immediately turned around. If that's all, I'm leaving. Teacher Yan waved with a smile, saying goodbye, and reminded him, go straight home, all right? No wandering around. Yan Xingchen was about to respond out of habit, when 2 loud booms sounded and brilliant fireworks burst in the sky. Both of them instinctively looked up. Yan Xingchen didn't like noisy events like this at all. Oh, annoying. It's not even New Year. Who's setting off fireworks? But Teacher Yan watched with delight, smiling as she guessed it might be some special event. It's nice to see fireworks even when it's not New Year. Firework after firework shot upward, blooming right before them. Suddenly, an enormous firework exploded, forming a heart shape with words, "Jai, marry me." It turned out to be a marriage proposal. But the moment Teacher Yan saw that name, her mood instantly sank. She lowered her head quietly. Back in college, she had liked a boy. Right before graduation, she had planned to confess to him, but unexpectedly saw the boy she liked together with their close friend Jai. So she held on to her love letter and buried the whole thing deep in her heart. The fireworks continued, drawing the attention of many people. Yan Xingchen couldn't help sighing. People really propose with this kind of grand display now? Half the city can see it. He then turned to Teacher Yan and joked, if you keep acting like such a fierce witch, be careful, you might never get married. Hearing Yan Xingchen's voice, Teacher Yan was startled, quickly turned away and hurriedly said goodbye before leaving. Yan Xingchen was confused. Did I hit a nerve about her not having a boyfriend? He quickly called out to her. And at that moment he unexpectedly noticed the tears at the corner of her eyes. She's crying. Was it because of my stupid joke just now? Yan Xingchen pressed a hand to his forehead. Great, that I came to thank her and now I've messed everything up. He regretted it deeply, thinking he really was good for nothing. During the next day's morning assembly, since the meeting had dragged on for too long, everyone was told to return to class quickly after dismissal, and Teacher Yan announced the end. Yan Xingchen was leaning on the railing upstairs, staring at Teacher Yan in a daze, thinking about how to fix yesterday's mess. I really have to apologize right after saying thank you? At that moment, Teacher Yan stepped off the podium and headed toward the teaching building. He really couldn't say it out loud. Yan Xingchen frowned, clearly troubled. After struggling for a while, he picked up his drink and turned to leave. It seemed apologizing was the only way. At the office door, Yan Xingchen peeked inside. Teacher Yan was focused on her work. She caught him in her peripheral vision and said, "Do you need something?" before continuing with her work. Yan Xingchen looked at the calm Teacher Yan. She didn't look like someone who had cried yesterday at all. What a changeable woman. He clicked his tongue and was about to push the door open. Just then, Teacher Yan's voice came from inside. No manners. When entering the office, you report first. Annoyed but knowing he was in the wrong, Yan Xingchen still did as told. Only then did Teacher Yen look up at him. Are you here to hand in your self-reflection? Yen Xingchen walked closer and said quietly, no. He shifted his gaze, looking down at the pile of assignments on the desk. Then added, I'm here to apologize. Hearing that, Teacher Yen froze. Apologize? For what? Unexpectedly, Yen Xingchen bent down and said seriously, I'm sorry. Before she could react, he turned around neatly and prepared to leave. That made Teacher Yen panic. Hey, did you do something huge again? Why are you apologizing? For a tsundere guy like him, lowering his head was already the limit. How could he explain face to face? As expected, he went back to his usual tone. Figure it out yourself. That irritated Teacher Yen to no end. She forced down her anger and smiled stiffly. Is this the attitude you should have when apologizing? Yen Xingchen felt awkward, scratched his cheek and muttered, because I said something pretty awful yesterday. That explanation confused Teacher Yen even more. Just, for that small thing? She couldn't help but let out a small laugh. That laugh stunned Yen Xingchen. He suddenly felt Teacher Yen looked truly beautiful in that moment. I'm not that fragile that I didn't take what you said yesterday to heart, so you don't need to apologize. Hearing that, Yen Xingchen snapped back to reality and let out a dazed little, oh. He quickly turned around. Anyway, since it said I'm leaving, and that's self-reflection, I'm not handing it in. Behind him came Teacher Yan's gentle voice. Don't worry, as long as you don't hand it in, I'll keep chasing you for it. Before she could finish, the door slammed shut. Teacher Yen felt unexpectedly good. She realized Yen Xingchen wasn't bad at his core. Even if he was mischievous, he was still just a kid, and a well-behaved one at heart. She touched her chin, falling into thought. Maybe she could talk to him about his studies. Just then her phone on the desk rang. She picked it up. Another blind date arranged by her mom, and this time Mom even sent a photo. Teacher Yen tapped it open. A handsome man appeared on the screen. Elegant, mature, steady. A strange feeling rose in her chest. Am I finally going to stop being single? Ran Lon was also excited about this blind date. Being able to catch our Teacher Yan's interest, he must be ridiculously handsome. Seeing Ran Lon already talking about being the bridesmaid, Teacher Yen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's way too early. They didn't even know what kind of person he was yet. While they were chatting, the blind date had already arrived, so Teacher Yen quickly ended the call. Soon, 27-year-old Yen Mingho approached, polite and gentlemanly. Sorry to keep you waiting. He sat across from her and asked warmly, do you like the food here? Teacher Yen smiled. I like the desserts here. They suit my taste very well. Hearing that, Yen Mingho quickly added, my family also runs a restaurant that specializes in Chinese cuisine. Next time, let's go try it together. Hearing this, Teacher Yan's eyes lit up. Yes, that sounds great. On the surface she looked calm, but inwardly she was already soaring. Was she finally about to escape lifelong singlehood? As they talked, the two were about to set a date for their next meeting. Suddenly, Yen Mingho's expression froze. Seeing this, Teacher Yen also became puzzled and turned to look. She saw Yen Xingchen and Zirui walking past the dessert shop entrance. Yen Xingchen was staring intensely at Yen Mingho across the way. In that awkward moment, Zirui whispered, Ching, maybe I should head back first? But Yen Xingchen ignored him and instead let out a cold snort. He raised an international gesture at Yen Mingho and even added a curse. Yen Mingho's eyes turned cold, but he stood and apologized to Teacher Yen. Before Teacher Yen could speak, he rushed out to find Yen Xingchen, leaving her completely confused. What kind of disaster was this? How did a perfectly fine blind date turn into this? Teacher Yen leaned against the window watching the three on the street. After coming out, Yen Mingho coldly questioned Yen Xingchen, why are you with her again? But Yen Xingchen didn't care at all. Who the hell do you think you are? You don't get to control me. Watching the two brothers argue, Zirui felt guilty that he had caused trouble for Qinji again. Had Qinji still not told the truth? At that moment, Yen Xingchen suddenly burst forward, grabbing Yen Mingho by the collar. Just because you're a few years older doesn't mean you get to boss me around. Seeing this, Teacher Yen tensed up instantly. How did a simple argument turn into a fight? She hurriedly tossed her bag to the waiter. Help me hold this, I'll come back to pay later. Then she rushed out, only to find that Yen Xingchen was already gone. Where is he? Yen Mingho calmly straightened his clothes and replied, he left. Seems like he was heading toward Times Square. After answering, he noticed something odd. Wait, you know him? Teacher Yen quickly explained. He's my student. What a coincidence, he said, but Teacher Yan's attention was entirely on Xingqian's departing figure. The girl beside him looked like the one she had seen before. Where were they going? Could the rumors really be true? Thinking of this, Teacher Yen felt completely unsettled. The quality man in front of her instantly lost all appeal. She turned to Yen Mingho. I'm very sorry, I'm worried about my student. I have something urgent to talk to him about. Before Yen Mingho could react, she left a quick, I'll be right back, and hurried away. Watching her run off, Yen Mingho let out a helpless laugh. What is even happening? Sprinting down the street, Teacher Yen made up her mind. This time she had to get to the bottom of it. Her blind date turned out to be her student's older brother, and the two seemed to have a terrible relationship. They even fought in front of her. When she reached Times Square, she found that Yen Xingqian was already gone. At that moment, Yen Xingqian was holding an ice cream about to pay. But the owner told him someone had already paid. Yen Xingqian was confused that he looked back. Holy crap, it was his own discipline director. Holding her phone, Teacher Yen smiled. This one's on me. Mind talking for a bit? They found a quiet spot in the plaza and sat down. While twisting a bottle cap, Teacher Yen asked, that middle school girl, where is she? She already left, Yen Xingqian said, extending his hand afterward. Teacher Yen clicked her tongue, pretending nothing happened, and set the bottle aside. Seeing that Teacher Yen also had it sunder aside, Yen Xingqian smiled. He reached out assertively. Hurry up and give it to me. His tone left Teacher Yen momentarily stunned. She then obediently handed the bottle over. Yen Xingqian tightened his grip and twisted the cap open with ease, handing it back. Teacher Yen felt a bit embarrassed. She muttered a soft thanks as she took the water. But her face was burning red. A whole discipline director who couldn't even open a bottle. What an embarrassment. If you plan to talk about early romance, there's nothing to talk about. We're not in that kind of relationship. Hearing this, Teacher Yen was surprised and let out a soft Yen Xingqian misunderstood. Knew you wouldn't believe it. I'm too lazy to explain anyway. Before he could finish, Teacher Yen quickly cut in. I didn't say I don't believe you. Now it was Yen Xingqian's turn to be stunned. Someone actually believed him. But as a teacher, she still didn't agree with his way of handling things. Even if you're really not in that kind of relationship, rumors can be scary. Even if you're innocent, you should still think about how it affects her. You don't want to see her get hurt, right? Yen Xingqian truly hadn't considered that. He thought for a moment and agreed with a hesitant sound, realizing Ms. Yen wasn't wrong. Seeing that Yen Xingqian finally understood, Ms. Yen didn't plan to stay longer. After all, someone was still waiting for her. If you ever have a problem you can't solve, just come to me anytime. I'll help you. She stood up, ready to leave. I still have things to do, so I'll go first. Stay safe while you're out. Watching Ms. Yan's back as she walked away, Yen Xingqian scratched his head in frustration. He really was stupid. Even if he meant well, he should have considered Ziru's feelings. After settling that situation, Ms. Yen hurried back to the blind date spot, only to find that Yen Mingho had already left. At that moment, the waiter brought over her bag. This is the handbag you left earlier. The gentleman who came with you had an urgent matter and left first, and he already paid the bill. Hearing that, Ms. Yen was completely devastated. She finally met someone she genuinely liked, and just like that, gone. Tears instantly rolled down her face. Her mood fell like autumn leaves swept by the cold wind, utterly bleak. And just like that, Ms. Yan's nth blind date failed yet again. After parting with Ms. Yen, Yen Xingqian didn't wander around. He went straight home, curled up on the sofa, obediently playing games. Li Han was beside him working on his drawings. Bring me a bottle of yogurt. Yen Xingqian reached out, feeling around the table for a moment, then tossed the yogurt over. But Li Han spoke again. Bring me a pack of biscuits. Holding back his anger, Yen Xingqian found the biscuits and tossed them over again, only for Li Han to complain. Not this one. I want the bear-shaped biscuits. That did it. Yen Xingqian snapped. Forget this team match. Today I'm teaching you, you damn troll. But when Li Han turned around, his face was full of anxiety. Both hands were in his hair as he muttered non-stop. Can't finish, can't finish. He was a manga artist, currently working on When Snowflakes Fall. The deadline was right around the corner and he still had a ton left to draw. Yen Xingqian could only sigh helplessly. What a walking disaster. Grumbling inside, he still went to get the biscuits for Li Han. Just then the phone on the table rang. The caller ID read, Grim Reaper. Yan Xingchen couldn't help reminding him, your phone's ringing. But Li Han didn't want to answer at all. He kept drawing furiously. It's my editor rushing the new chapter that if I pick up I'll just get yelled at. Yan Xingchen added fuel to the fire from the side. Serves you right for delaying updates. You totally deserve it. But Li Han had no time to care about him anymore. Seeing this, Yan Xingchen leaned over to peek at the page. And then he realized, the person Li Han was drawing looked a lot like his own discipline director. Li Han didn't think much of it. How does that look like her? Yan Xingchen immediately pointed at the drawing. Look at this. This nose, these eyes, this mouth, and especially that tear mold. You're not gonna find a second crazy witch like her. Li Han scratched his head, thoughtful. This guy sure pays a lot of attention to Director Yan. Then he turned to look at Yan Xingchen. When are you ever going to look at me that closely? Hearing that, Yan Xingchen got a little flustered and annoyed. You're a grown man, what's there to look at? Then he realized he'd been a bit too specific and hurried to patch things up. If you got called to the discipline office as often as I do, you'd notice all kinds of details too. After saying that, he tried to act calm while sipping his soda, but with Li Han's experience reading people, there was no way he couldn't tell something was off. Don't tell me, you've fallen for her? Hearing that, Yan Xingchen spat out a mouthful on the spot. Li Han grinned. So I guessed right? He handed him a tissue. But Yan Xingchen exploded instantly. You can talk nonsense about food but not about people. Wiping his mouth, he kept explaining, she's a teacher. My discipline director, she's always serious and naggy. How could I possibly like her? Li Han didn't even bother pretending anymore. He just nodded along. Seeing that expression, Yan Xingchen knew he couldn't hide it and stopped dodging. She's actually really nice, she's helped me several times. She doesn't look down on me for being a bad student. At my old school they wished I'd get worse just so they'd have something to gossip about. The thing I heard the most was probably, why did Yan Xingchen turn out like this? They probably had several versions of the story. And whenever I tried to study they mocked me for pretending. Before he could continue, Li Han cut in, she definitely wouldn't. That stunned Yan Xingchen, who lifted his head in surprise. Besides, you're not studying for other people, don't you want to get into university? Yan Xingchen stopped pretending and answered with firm eyes, of course I do. But with your grades right now, you can't get into the university you want. Yan Xingchen fell silent again. Li Han spoke sincerely, think carefully, what are you really studying for? Hearing that, Yan Xingchen lowered his head in disappointment. Even if he starts changing now, will those people ever give him another chance? Ran Lan, a hardcore manga fan, kept waiting for When Snow Falls to update, refreshing the page every few minutes. Ran Lan grumbled non-stop, annoying Yan teacher so much she couldn't work. Can't you be quiet for a second? Do you know how hard I've suffered waiting? It was supposed to update Saturday, then delayed to Sunday and then pushed to today. Yan teacher looked at her friend's crazy expression, completely unable to understand. Suddenly a notification popped up on Ran Lan's phone. Black Cat-kun finally updated. Ran Lan instantly revived to full HP and hurried to open it. Oh my god, this chapter is addictive. It's so sweet. Yan teacher clicked her mouse hard in irritation. You're so noisy. Can you be quiet? Ran Lan was fully immersed. Wait till I finish praising him in the comments, then I'll shut up. Her fingers typed rapidly. After posting the comment, Ran Lan sat there looking blissfully satisfied. Yan teacher quickly pulled out her phone to take a photo and post it on the public wall. Hearing her teasing, Ran Lan instantly shot back. I'm not the one who screamed my voice hoarse at a concert. Yan teacher froze in embarrassment. Scenes of her own crazy concert behavior flashed in her mind, and she slammed the table in shame and anger. Forget all of that. Ran Lan felt much better after venting. As she kept reading, she suddenly realized the character in the manga looked like her friend. She jumped up excitedly and showed it to Yan teacher. Doesn't this look like you? Yan teacher didn't follow manga at all, so she couldn't see it, but Ran Lan was different. As a veteran manga fan, the more she looked, the more that character resembled Yan teacher. Even the rooftop in the story looked like their schools. Maybe the author is someone from our school. Yan teacher felt this was absurd. He's a manga artist with 1 million followers. That if someone that amazing were in our school, how could there be no rumors? Just then Yen teacher's phone rang. I'm picking this up, don't talk nonsense. Ranlon didn't care and just gave 2 perfunctory Seeing it was an unknown number, Yen teacher answered gently, Hello, I'm Yen Xingchen. May I ask who's calling? Hearing her tone, Ranlan's gossip spirit ignited. She kept asking, Who is it? Who is it? A magnetic male voice came through. This is Yen Mingho. Yen teacher froze, unable to believe he would call her. She stayed silent for a long moment. Am I bothering you? Sorry about that. Yen teacher finally snapped back, quickly turning away to block Ranlon from eavesdropping. No, it's fine. I'm free right now. Good. I was worried calling out of the blue might disrupt your work. Do you have time tomorrow at 7? Could I invite you to dinner, at the restaurant we talked about last time? Staying reserved, Yen teacher didn't immediately agree. Okay, let me check my schedule. Ranlon waved frantically at her to hurry and say yes. Pretending to review her schedule, she waited a moment before answering, I can go. I don't have anything planned for tomorrow night. Yen Mingho politely sent the location as well. As soon as the call ended, Ranlon shouted excitedly, Spring has arrived, girl. Though happy inside, Yen teacher felt a little shy. She pinched Ranlan's cheek and said, You look so ugly today. The pinch made Ranlon scream in pain. Holding her still sore cheek, Ranlon mocked this heartless woman. While they spoke, Yen Mingho had already sent the address. Yen teacher quickly replied, See you tomorrow, and was fully immersed in joy. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. After being permitted, Li Han walked in. Yen teacher and Ranlon instantly returned to a serious demeanor. What is it? Li Han took out a file. This is the activity application for this year's school anniversary, plus the reimbursement forms from each class. We've organized everything. Please approve them when you're free. Seeing such a responsible student council president, Yen teacher was very satisfied and smiled. All right, thank you for your hard work. As Li Han bent down to leave, he realized the teacher beside them was actually reading his manga. This discovery made Li Han incredibly happy. Who would have thought a school teacher would be his fan? I really am too talented. In the Chinese restaurant, Yen teacher and Yen Mingho sat across from each other. After finishing their meal, they quietly enjoyed the music in the restaurant. Yen Mingho checked his phone and saw it was already 10:30. He immediately stood up. It's getting late. Let me take you home. Seeing how gentlemanly and handsome Yen Mingho was, teacher Yen blushed unconsciously and quickly waved her hand. No need, I can go back by myself. But Yen Mingho insisted, standing up and taking his coat. If you go back alone, how can I be at ease? Faced with his intense gaze, teacher Yen stopped refusing. Nervous and shy, she didn't dare lift her head. They packed up their things and left the restaurant together, heading toward the parking garage. At this moment, teacher Yen was conflicted, unsure whether she should ask. Her expression caught Yen Mingho's attention. Was the food bad, or is something else on your mind? Hearing his voice suddenly, teacher Yen was startled. After thinking for a moment, she finally asked, You and Yen Xingchen? Before she could finish, Yen Mingho sighed. I knew you'd ask. That he's my brother, my biological younger brother. Hearing this, teacher Yen was stunned. She never expected the two to be real brothers. Yen Mingho looked troubled and hesitated. Some things, I'm not convenient to say right now. But he still turned to her, speaking firmly, but I can assure you, he's a good kid. Meanwhile, as Yen Xingchen was walking downstairs from Ziru's place, he suddenly felt a chill on his scalp. Who's cursing me behind my back again? This made Ziru and Zilin burst into laughter. Hearing the laughter, Yen Xingchen squatted down and patted Zilin's head. Did you have fun on your birthday today? Zilin happily responded with 2 soft sounds. Looking closely, Yen Xingchen actually showed a tenderness he had never displayed before, reminding her in detail. After I leave, remember to lock the door, wash up early, and don't stay up late. Zilin was so happy today that she nodded repeatedly. With that, Yen Xingchen stood up, waved goodbye to the sisters and turned to head home. But Ziru called out to him, Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Yen Xingchen replied lightly, saying thank you sounds too distant, doesn't it? He then reached out and ruffled Ziru's hair. Don't forget, we're family. All right, you two go back and rest early. I'm heading home. The 2 sisters quickly waved goodbye to him. Watching Yan Xingchen walk away, Ziru blushed and whispered in her heart, "Good night, Brother Chen." On his way home, Yan Xingchen received a text message. When he took out his phone, he saw it was from his brother Yan Mingho. Without hesitation, he tapped delete. Meanwhile, when teacher Yan told Ranlon they were biological brothers, Ranlon screamed in shock, drawing the attention of everyone in the restaurant. Teacher Yan quickly gestured for her to lower her voice. But Ranlon still couldn't believe it. "You really can't tell it all. One is mature and reliable, a perfect gentleman. The other is a troublemaking delinquent. How are they real brothers? That's insane." She quickly took a sip of her drink to calm herself. After taking a sip, Ranlon kept gossiping. "Then what does she mean by not convenient to say? What kind of thing can't be said openly?" Teacher Yen, however, understood well. "Probably family matters that we've only met twice after all. Not everything can be told." Seeing her friend defend Yan Mingho nonstop, Ranlon teased, "Met twice and your elbow is already turning outward. Don't tell me you've secretly fallen for him." Teacher Yen blushed all over, hurriedly denying, "No, I didn't, that's not it." But Ranlon suddenly pulled out her phone. "Your idol just announced a tour, and posted a selfie. Brand new Weibo post 2 seconds ago, still hot." As a hardcore fan, Teacher Yen instantly lit up, snatching the phone in a flash. Her fangirling side exploded. "So handsome, oh my god." Hugging the phone, she was completely enchanted. "I'm taking a beauty crit right now." Seeing the new post, she couldn't hold back anymore. "This is too sweet that I need to triple like it, that I need to send rainbow praise." Ranlon still remembered how Teacher Yen mocked her yesterday while they were reading manga. Now she could finally return it as is. While the two were chatting, the waiter suddenly came over. "Hello, your cheese mousse jelly." Ranlon casually glanced up, only to have her eyes widen instantly. She coughed aggressively to warn her friend and even kicked Teacher Yen under the table. Only then did Teacher Yen snap back and follow the direction of Ranlan's finger. A handsome face came into view. "What are you staring at? Drooling already?" Teacher Yen lifted her head in shock. It was Yan Xingchen. Didn't that mean he saw everything just now? Teacher Yen almost wanted to scratch a whole castle into the floor from embarrassment. It was a full-on social death scene. Once Yan Xingchen left, Teacher Yen hurriedly grabbed a tissue and wiped her mouth, only to find the tissue completely clean. Realizing he'd just been messing with her, now she was doomed. The two teachers stared at each other in silence, caught fangirling by one of their own students. "Your disguise slipped." Teacher Yen felt herself shattered into pieces, utterly at a loss. Seeing her so deflated, Ranlon quickly grabbed her friend's shoulders. "Pull yourself together, Director Yen. You're the famous discipline director." If she hadn't said it, fine. Once she said it, Teacher Yen felt even more embarrassed and repeated again, "Did he see everything just now?" Ranlon wanted to build her confidence but couldn't lie. "Probably, maybe, he saw it." That sentence became the final straw. Teacher Yen was instantly defeated. Without another word, Teacher Yen jumped to her feet, dragged Ranlon and fled in panic. The waitress thought the dessert tasted bad and made the customers storm out. Knowing the truth, Yan Xingchen couldn't hold back his laughter. The scene made the other staff curious. "Why are you in such a good mood today?" Thinking back on Teacher Yan's embarrassed look, Yan Xingchen grinned. "Nothing, just saw someone's image collapse." Monday morning, Teacher Yen walked through the teaching building with an intimidating aura, as if she had forgotten everything from the weekend. Little did others know she kept telling herself internally, "I'm the discipline director, that I have to straighten up." Soon she arrived at class 3-2 and pushed the door open with a loud smack, only to see Yan Xingchen sleeping with a book over his face. Teacher Yen walked up and knocked hard on his desk. Yan Xingchen removed the book, looked at her impatiently. "What?" Arms crossed, full of icy authority, Teacher Yen said, "Come to my office." But the aura she had just built up was instantly shattered by Yan Xingchen's mocking smile. Teacher Yen didn't say more, spun around and strode out. Yan Xingchen followed right behind her. The two left the classroom one after the other, and the students began whispering, "What did Yan Xingchen do again?" Even the discipline director came to the class. Reaching the office, Teacher Yen immediately closed the door. Yan Xingchen sat casually in the chair. "What school rule did I break this time?" The previously fierce Teacher Yen suddenly deflated and stammered, "About yesterday. Can you keep it a secret for me?" Yan Xingchen grinned. "Why should I?" Teacher Yen felt her chest tighten from irritation. She couldn't possibly say it was for the dignity of the discipline director. So how was she supposed to start? Before she could speak, Yen Xingchen continued with a sarcastic tone. It's not like you did anything terrible. You just fangirled over your idol, typed rainbow praise comments and acted love-struck. Totally normal. After saying that, Yen Xingchen stared at her without another word. He thought it was just a small funny moment, but didn't expect her to care this much. Yen Xingchen narrowed his eyes. So that means, I can ask her for a condition? Thinking that, he folded his arms with an all-knowing look. Keeping it secret isn't impossible, but I have conditions. If you agree to my condition, I won't tell anyone. Otherwise, hearing this, Teacher Yen fell silent for a moment. Then, what's your condition? She asked while cursing inwardly. This brat actually dares to threaten me. Yen Xingchen crossed his arms. Be my sister's piano teacher for free. Teacher Yen was shocked. Since when do you have a sister? You've met her. Only then did Teacher Yen remember. So that little girl was your sister. Yen Xingchen continued. Every night from 8 to 9 for one whole semester. That shouldn't be hard for you, right? Teacher Yen rested her chin on her hand, thinking seriously. Although it felt a bit strange, it was also a good chance to get in touch with his family. Maybe she could talk properly with them. Thinking that, Teacher Yen accepted decisively. Then it's settled. After saying that, Yen Xingchen stood up. After school, follow me, that I'll take you there first. And of course, if you have any suitable textbooks, bringing them for her would be even better. Seeing Yen Xingchen smiling like a fox, Teacher Yen instantly regretted it. She felt like this kid had dug a hole and was waiting for her to jump in. A discipline director ending up like this was truly something. Not only being threatened by a student into teaching piano for free, but also having to prepare the teaching materials herself. After school, Yen Xingchen brought Teacher Yen to the subway station. It was crowded and noisy. Teacher Yen held her books carefully and followed closely behind him. Noticing something behind him, Yen Xingchen turned and handed over his backpack. Put the textbooks in my bag. Teacher Yen looked confused. Why? I'm fine holding them like this. But Yen Xingchen didn't explain. Instead, he mysteriously said, You'll see in a moment. Hearing that, Teacher Yen could only obey. The two rode the escalator down into the station. Seeing the huge crowd, Teacher Yen couldn't help exclaiming, There are too many people. Yen Xingchen looked a bit gloating. Don't underestimate line 3 during rush hour. This place is. Before he could finish, the subway arrival chime cut him off. Yen Xingchen didn't have time to think and grabbed Teacher Yen's arm. Hurry, the train's here. While Teacher Yen was still confused, she was pulled onto the train. Once aboard, she glanced around. There aren't that many people. Before she finished, someone bumped into her again and again. That slap in the face came a little too fast. Yen Xingchen quickly steadied her, adding a jab. This is what you call not crowded? Teacher Yen was speechless. This brat, not charming at all. As more people boarded, the carriage grew even more cramped and the two were pushed closer bit by bit. Suddenly someone rammed into Yen Xingchen. He almost fell right into Teacher Yen's arms, but reacted fast, bracing his hand on the window. Almost a wall slam moment. Then he turned and shouted, Stop pushing. What's your problem? Seriously, why are there even more people than usual today? With no choice, Yen Xingchen tried to maintain a safe distance, while Teacher Yen stayed silent from beginning to end. But inside she was far from calm. So gentlemanly, so dependable. Those rumors must all be lies. Feeling awkward staring at Teacher Yen, Yen Xingchen had to turn his head away. Seeing this tiny action, Teacher Yen couldn't help but let out a small laugh. What are you laughing at? Her cheeks flushed as she quickly explained, Nothing, really nothing. Yen Xingchen was suspicious, but there was no way he could guess a girl's thoughts. After exiting the subway, Yen Xingchen explained the route while leading her home. See that? Follow the Guangming community sign all the way forward, go to the very end, and that's it. Got it? Such a complicated route made Teacher Yan's head spin. She planned to rely on navigation, but Yen Xingchen said the road nearby was under construction. GPS is useless. You can only trust your memory. As they talked, he brought Teacher Yen into an old building. Walking up the worn-down stairs, she couldn't help worrying. This place is almost a hazard. How does it pass fire inspections? Yen Xingchen replied, You think anyone checks places like this? Soon they reached a door. Yan Xingchen knocked. Open up, it's me. The door opened and Ziyue peeked out. Qingyu, why are you? Before she finished, she saw Teacher Yan standing outside. Who is she? Looks like the woman who sat next to Qingji that day. Teacher Yan stepped forward. Hello, I'm Yan Xingchen, the piano teacher your brother invited. Just call me Teacher Yan. After bringing her inside, the new teacher and student had their first friendly meeting. She's Qiao Ziyue, second year of middle school. This is Qiao Zilin, third grade, their sisters. After the introduction, Teacher Yan smiled and waved, greeting the two sisters. Zilin, a bit timid, clutched her sister's shirt and whispered a soft, hello. Once the introductions were done, Yan Xingchen turned to the girls. Did you finish your homework? Both answered at the same time, finished. Before they could say anything else, he started giving out instructions. Ziyue, get familiar with Teacher Yan first. Zilin, go finish your homework, eat after that. Then he took off his backpack and reminded Teacher Yan, don't forget the textbook is in my bag. With that, he turned around and got busy. Teacher Yan, seeing Yan Xingchen at home for the first time, couldn't help taking a few more glances. After a short pause, she looked at Ziyue. He said you know a bit of piano. Can you play something for me? Ziyue nervously asked in a small voice. Teacher Yan, how much is the class fee? The question caught Teacher Yan off guard. Since she couldn't explain the whole story, she answered guiltily, it's free. Ziyue was stunned. Why is it free? Teacher Yan scratched her cheek awkwardly. Just helping out a friend. Friendship and all that. Ziyue still looked doubtful. Since when is Qingji so popular with teachers? Soon, beautiful piano notes filled the room. Ziyue was fully immersed in the melody. Watching this scene, Teacher Yan couldn't help admiring her silently. This girl really has talent. Then her gaze dimmed. She looks a bit like my brother Yan Xinglan when he was little. From the moment she heard Ziyue play, Teacher Yan understood. Ziyue and her brother were the same type of people, born gifted. While she herself had no talent for piano, no matter how hard she tried, even practicing until her fingers hurt, she could never catch up. When the song ended, Teacher Yan clapped happily and praised Ziyue. But looking at the old piano in front of her, Teacher Yan felt troubled. The tuning was terrible. It probably couldn't even be fixed anymore, and this model had been discontinued for years. Ziyue looked embarrassed and explained awkwardly, we bought it second-hand. Coming from a family of musicians, Teacher Yan was very familiar with basic tuning. If you don't mind, I can take a look for you. After getting Ziyue's permission, Teacher Yan lifted the piano lid and began adjusting it slowly. Sitting beside her, Ziyue suddenly asked, Teacher Yan, are you really just Qingji's teacher? Teacher Yan didn't answer directly. I'm the discipline director at Yaoyang High and also a music teacher. Then, are you two dating? The bizarre question startled Teacher Yan, who jerked her head up. How is that possible? Hearing that, Ziyue let out a long breath, clearly relieved. Teacher Yan tried many times but found the piano completely unfixable. No, this one's beyond saving. I actually have a spare piano. I can give it to you. Just as she finished tidying up, Yan Xingchen walked in with the dishes and cut in immediately. What are you talking about? Your piano probably can't even fit into this old stairwell. Let's eat first. The piano problem we'll solve later. Seeing the dishes, Teacher Yan was shocked. These? You made all of them? Yan Xingchen was speechless. If not me, who? The fairy from the snail shell? Teacher Yan was completely stunned. So this is the kind of fun rich kids have? As he spoke, Yan Xingchen carried the dishes toward the living room, told Ziyue to bring the rice, and even told Teacher Yan to tidy up the table. Teacher Yan didn't think much of it and subconsciously began sorting the books on the table. It wasn't until Yan Xingchen sat comfortably on the sofa that she finally reacted. Wait, aren't I the guest? Why am I being bossed around by this kid? Noticing her stare, Yan Xingchen shot her a teasing look. Why are you staring at me? Afraid I'll poison you or something? At that moment, Zilin and Ziyue walked over with bowls of rice. Teacher Yan quickly crouched down, took the rice that Zilin handed over and said gently, thank you. Teacher Yan, my brother's cooking is super good. You're lucky today. The four of them sat around the tiny dining table and started eating. After just one bite of Yan Xingchen's stir-fry, Teacher Yan's eyes lit up. This is way too good. Honestly, as good as those big restaurants. Yan Xingchen had been watching her the whole time and noticed every little expression. Feeling smug, he said, so, my cooking's pretty great, right? Teacher Yen smiled softly. It really is. But Xingchen immediately joked. You can praise me like you praise your idols. You know that I really wouldn't mind. Talk about hitting the wrong note. Teacher Yen instantly lost her appetite from being teased. Watching the two banter like that, the sisters were stunned. Were they really just teacher and student? But Teacher Yen didn't notice any of this. What Xingchen showed her today overturned her worldview. She came for a home visit, yet ended up seeing her student in a completely different light. In the underground garage, Teacher Yen got into Yen Mingho's car. You're not working overtime today? Yen Mingho smiled. The busiest period is finally over that I can relax for a while. While fastening her seatbelt, she chatted casually. You're like a walking food map. You always find hidden restaurants somehow. Well, food is my greatest love. The place we went today, I found it by accident when I came back from a trip. Before Yen Mingho could continue, the phone in his arms rang. Sorry, let me take this call, he said. The moment he answered, a loud voice blasted through. Bro, wanna grab some drinks? Mingho refused right away, but the guy laughed. Aw, my bad, forgot you're with your lady, huh? Then he yelled toward the phone, sister-in-law, trying to greet Teacher Yen. Mingho was instantly embarrassed. Stop talking nonsense. Meanwhile, Teacher Yen was torn. This seemed like a great opportunity. But if she agreed too fast, would it look like she was too eager? The guy on the other end still wanted to talk, and Mingho, trying not to die of embarrassment, was about to hang up. But at that moment, Teacher Yen covered her mouth and laughed. This guy is really funny. Mingho quickly muted the call, though he didn't hang up. Should we go meet them? Teacher Yen gave a small smile. If it's not too much trouble, we can go. Hearing that, Mingho immediately said into the phone, We're heading over now, and don't say anything weird when we get there. Soon they arrived at a food stall. The friend greeted her loudly, Sister-in-law, you have no idea. Mingho here looks like he knows everything, but he's a total newbie that he's never even dated. Hearing the name Jing Mingho, Teacher Yen froze for a second. Oh, so he never told you? Mingho rushed to explain. It's nothing big that I got lost when I was little and was raised by my adoptive parents. I only returned to the Yen family 2 years ago and took back my real name. Teacher Yen was even more confused now. She hadn't expected Yen Mingho to have gone through something like that. These guys are all my close high school friends that I'm used to calling them that, he explained. At that moment, Teacher Yen noticed something unusual. He returned to the Yen family 2 years ago, exactly the same time Yen Xingchen's grades started falling. Was there some connection? The group continued chatting. When someone asked why Mingho still hadn't dated anyone, his gaze suddenly softened, landing directly on Teacher Yen beside him. Probably because I haven't met the right person yet. Everyone immediately started teasing. Damn, look at you, dropping cheesy lines like it's nothing. Just then a waiter pushed over a cart. Your roasted lamb leg is ready. With the main dish arriving, the whole group got excited again. They drank beer, ate skewers, and had a great time. Later that day, as Teacher Yen was heading home after work, Ran Lon came running after her. When she finally caught up, she invited her out. We got off early today. Wanna go have some fun? But Teacher Yen declined. I have an important date today. No time to keep you company. Ran Lan's gossip sensors exploded. Is it with that handsome guy? Teacher Yen, in a good mood, smiled. Just dinner, that's all. Ran Lon instantly switched to drama queen mode and pretended to cry. I'm so miserable. You got a boyfriend and now you don't want your best friend. Teacher Yan's face darkened. Can you talk like a normal person? Ran Lon poked her. When are you gonna bring him out for me to see? I've heard you talk about him so much, never seen him in person. I'm dying of curiosity. Teacher Yen replied calmly. He's right outside the school gate. You'll see him in a second. Hearing that, Ran Lon became extremely excited. You two are already at that stage. He's even picking you up from work? She was happy for her friend but also worried Yen might have met the wrong guy, so she decided to turn into Sherlock Holmes and observe Yen Mingho carefully. Teacher Yen was speechless. Do whatever you want, as long as you're happy. Just then Yen Mingho took out his phone ready to call her. Before he even dialed, a sweet voice sounded nearby. Good evening. Ran Lon hid and continued spying. Mingho responded gentlemanly, You must be tired from work. The foodie Teacher Yen immediately asked, Where are we eating tonight? Somewhere good, right? As always, Mingho was considerate. Thai food or Sichuan? Teacher Yen happily chose Sichuan. I've been craving spicy boiled fish. Mingho had no objections. Ranlon continued observing secretly. But her staring had already caught Mingho's attention that he scanned the area with his peripheral vision but saw no one. Teacher Yen instantly realized her friend was causing trouble again and felt extremely awkward. Once they got in the car, Teacher Yan's phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown caller, making her a bit confused. She hit the answer button just as the car started. A hurried girl's voice burst out. Teacher Yen, it's Xiao Jirei. Please help, it's about Chen. Teacher Yen panicked instantly. What happened to Yen Xingchen? What's going on? Zheng Mingho was also stunned beside her. But Teacher Yen had no time to explain and quickly asked Jirei what exactly had happened. Chen just answered a call and rushed out. Sounds like someone called him out for a fight. There were a lot of people. Teacher Yen immediately asked for the location. Jirei added, seems like the place where we first met. Lots of bars there. Those guys love hanging around. Teacher Yen told Jirei to stay home and wait for updates, then signaled Mingho to change directions. Let's go to Bar Street on Sherdai East Road. Watching the car speed away, Ranlon muttered behind them, just for dinner. Why so dramatic? Soon they reached the area near Bar Street, but the car couldn't get in, so they parked outside. Seeing how anxious Teacher Yen was, Mingho asked, do you know the exact spot? She didn't remember clearly and admitted, roughly yes, but I'm not sure they're there. Once they got out, Teacher Yen told Mingho to split up and look. She scanned the surroundings. Her gaze locked onto the turn ahead. As soon as she rounded the corner, she saw several people fighting and shouted to stop them. Yen Xingchen was being held by one guy while another blonde-haired punk was about to punch him. At the critical moment, another fist landed first, straight on the blonde guy, saving Xingchen from the blow. Xingchen's eyes widened in shock. Mingho could fight, and with moves that clean and sharp. While everyone else was distracted by Mingho, Teacher Yen made her move. She pulled off a clean takedown, then drove her knee hard into the waist of the guy restraining Xingchen, making him scream like a slaughtered pig. You crazy woman, how dare you? Before he could finish, another punch came flying in, knocking the guy flat. Mingho fighting 1 against 3 actually scared the group into running away. Just as Yen Xingchen was about to chase after them, Teacher Yen grabbed him. He turned back angrily. Let go of me, stay out of it. Seeing this, Mingho stepped in to scold him. What kind of attitude is that? She's your teacher. Show some respect. Yen Xingchen gave his usual careless look. What, you want to lecture me again? Then he grabbed Mingho's collar, eyes cold. And who do you think you are? Really treating yourself like my brother. You think you deserve that? Mingho had no way to deal with him. Scenes like this had happened many times. Fearing they'd start fighting, Teacher Yen rushed to stop them. Calm down, talk it out. But neither listened. Mingho, knowing his sudden return had triggered his brother's change in attitude, tried to stay patient. Do you know how worried Mom and Dad are about you? But Xingchen reacted like someone hit his sore spot. Bullshit. Why would they be sad? Their real son came back. They probably laughed themselves awake. Why would they think about me? Mingho frowned, clearly hurt. Yen Xingchen, I'm warning you, watch yourself. Teacher Yen froze at that. Real son? Then Yen Xingchen isn't? She quickly shook her head. No, this is not the time to think about that. Yen Xingchen grew even more agitated. Even if I die, I won't go back to that house. Teacher Yen hurried to pull them apart. Both of you let go. Calm down and talk properly. At that moment, Mingho lost patience again. What's there to talk about? Fighting, skipping school, so-called puppy love, hanging around those kinds of places. And even if I want to talk to him, will he talk to me? He doesn't answer my calls, ignores my texts. He ended with a long sigh. Yen Xingchen really did have a talent for driving people mad. Oh, sorry for making you suffer, he said sarcastically. Right now, Xingchen acted a bit like a wounded flower. You saw it, that attitude. What's there left to say? Teacher Yen, who originally wanted to mediate, instead began defending him. It's not like that. There must be some misunderstanding. Yen Xingchen isn't that kind of person. And he's not dating that middle school girl. As for the other things, I'm sure the rumors aren't true. Please, you have to believe him. Xingchen looked at Teacher Yen standing in front of him, defending him, and that strange feeling in his chest grew stronger. Mingho felt a bit awkward seeing her protect Xingchen like this. Really? Teacher Yan's tone was firm. Yes, I'll find out the truth about everything else. But before that you must trust him. Her words hit Xingchen harder than he expected. Wanting to process it alone, he turned to leave. But Teacher Yan suddenly called after him. Where are you going? She turned to Mingho apologetic. I'll go talk to him. Before Mingho could say anything, she was already chasing after Xingchen. Mingho watched her leave him behind once again and sighed helplessly. What is even happening? Teacher Yan ran after Yan Xingchen, breathless, finally catching up to him. But Xingchen said with a blank face, Why are you following me? Shouldn't you be going back to your date? Thinking of yet another ruined date because of him, Teacher Yan snapped. If you didn't keep causing trouble, I wouldn't have to. Hearing that, Xingchen scratched his neck awkwardly. Was it that little brat Ziyue who tattled? She only called because she was worried about you. Teacher Yan's retort shut Xingchen right up. She then remembered she hadn't texted Ziyue back, quickly pulled out her phone to send a message, while saying, You should talk things through with Yan Mingho. No matter what, you guys are family. No. The moment those words left her mouth, the phrase family set him off. Who the hell is family with him? Teacher Yan looked at the boy beside her, confused. What kind of grudge did these two brothers have? Noticing her gaze, Xingchen let out a low snort. With a hint of sadness on his face, like a puppy that had been abandoned. Since you heard everything anyway, I'll just say it straight, I was adopted. After Mingho went missing, they adopted me from a welfare home because I looked like him. All these years they were looking for their missing son, and I was nothing but a stand-in. The ridiculous part is, I didn't know a damn thing. As he spoke, Yan Xingchen's eyes grew even sadder. I used to think that was truly my home, until Yan Mingho came back. Yan Xingchen turned to the teacher. That's when I finally understood the difference between a biological child and an adopted one. That you don't need to look for them anymore. No matter what I become, they don't really care. Hearing the full story, Teacher Yan broke into a cold sweat. How could things be like this? Seeing the teacher still frozen, Yan Xingchen reminded him, Stay here and keep him company. I'll go first. Unexpectedly, the teacher suddenly said, I didn't expect it. You and I are actually quite alike. The two walked back together and the teacher explained, I also have an outstanding older brother. His name is Yan Xinglan, a world-renowned pianist. Seeing the teacher's expression turn gloomy, Yan Xingchen asked, No way, he's the real child and you're not? The teacher laughed behind his hand, Of course not. But thinking of his brother's talent, the teacher's eyes dimmed. But yes, we're different. Even though I was born into a family of musicians, I never had any musical talent. No matter how hard I practiced, even to the point my muscles developed memory, I could never resonate with the music. My mom even said my playing sounded like a dead pond without any waves or emotion. Thinking about that, the teacher let out a small laugh. So, that's why they sent me here to be a music teacher. Teacher Yan looked up at Yan Xingchen. I really understand how you feel. But his tone suddenly shifted and his expression turned serious. Your life belongs to you. You need to take responsibility for yourself and you can't give up your own life for anyone. Yan Xingchen knew the lecturing was coming again and quickly turned his head away. Got it, you're really naggy. Teacher Yan puffed up angrily and shouted, You brat. I'm worrying about you here. Only then did Teacher Yan notice something was off. It's so late. Why aren't you home yet? Are you going the same way as me? Yan Xingchen gave a completely speechless look. I live in the neighborhood right next to yours, okay? Unbelievable. Yan Xingchen actually lived in the same community as Teacher Yan, and after all these days she was only finding out now.